For example, focus, right? F-O-C-U-S. Well, there's a pretty awful mispronunciation of that one, right? And if you say that in a meeting, it can cause problems, awkwardness, judgments, and you don't want that. You don't want to be misunderstood. If you don't know what you're aiming at, then you're likely going to just sort of wander around, doing things randomly. And that's not so good. When it comes to pronunciation, you need to have clear goals. The problem is, with goals around pronunciation, it's a bit fuzzy. It's hard to make goals. Because what are you really trying to do when you improve your pronunciation? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk about why that's difficult and how you can set your goals. And then I am going to give you a challenge for how you can start making your own pronunciation goals. We'll do that at the end, okay? So, first, why is it difficult to set specific goals around improving pronunciation? It's not like you got the right or the wrong answer on an English exam. A lot of grammar questions, for example, would be, it's right or it's wrong. You should have used the past tense, you used the present tense. It is wrong, right? That's fairly objective. It's very clear cut. Okay, well, pronunciation is not really like that because there's often no clear right or wrong answer. And so the whole topic of pronunciation is a bit fuzzy. That also makes it a bit difficult to measure your progress. How do you get better at something if you don't know by what measure you're getting better? You're not even sure what things to look at to decide, hey, I'm improving or I'm not improving, right? The other part I think is not really talked about. Some people think what they want, for example, is to sound exactly like an American, even though they are not from America, or they want to sound exactly like a British person, even though they're not from England, okay? You can have whatever goals you like, but my opinion is that is not a great goal. It's not a great goal to want to take on completely 100% another accent, because you're never going to get there 100%, because there will be cultural things that you didn't happen to grow up with that will be missing, right? And that's fine, right? That's great that you come into the language not from your childhood but later on. But trying to say, therefore, I will imitate exactly a British accent or an American accent will likely lead to some awkwardness. It'll be a little bit odd. I don't think that's the best goal, but that doesn't mean you can't learn from, for example, American accents or British accents to make your pronunciation much more clear and sound much more fluent. So you have to be clear about that, right? You want to, for example, if I moved to a city in another country with another native language and I started speaking exactly like the locals, the sounds were exactly the same, there would always be something slightly off. Number one, because I'm not a local, right? And number two, because I don't have that sort of cultural background. So it's more likely that I will hopefully be able to get really fluent and sound really natural, right? But always have maybe a slightly Americanized sound. And I think that is totally okay. I think we need to be okay with that, actually. Okay? So first, identify what your issues really are. What are the problems? For example, people always misunderstand me. Yeah, that is an actual problem that you should work on. If the funny one, for example, focus, right? F-O-C-U-S. Well, there's a pretty awful mispronunciation of that one, right? And if you say that in a meeting, it can cause problems, awkwardness, judgments, and you don't want that. You don't want to be misunderstood, right? Maybe you don't like how you sound, okay? Again, that doesn't necessarily mean that you should necessarily want to sound like a native a native English speaker from the United States. For example, maybe you just think your accent is a little too strong and you want to make it milder. Okay, I think that's great. I'm not using stress correctly. Yeah, that's a fair one. A lot of English learners, they're not focusing on the right words or the right syllables in words, and that causes misunderstandings or a feeling of stiffness, and you want to sound more natural. Stress is very important. Intonation, very important for sounding natural. Maybe you just want to be able to communicate better, more effectively, right? And pronunciation, clear, natural pronunciation is a big part of that. Okay, fair. So very clearly identify what it is, okay? Then I would like you to make I want statements. Okay, so you know what your main issues are, at least what you think your main issues are, and, ask for help from a teacher or someone else if you want to figure that out and you don't know. Then, where do you want to be in a year? If you actually work on it, what do you want? So make some I want statements. I want to feel more confident when I speak. That's a very broad one, but I think that's fine. I want to have that international sound. Now that, I think, is a good goal. It's hard to describe what it is, but when you hear it, you know it. It's not a strong accent of any place in particular. It sounds kind of neutral, right? Everyone understands it well, and it's, as I said, not easily identifiable. I think that is a great goal. It's not so clear exactly, what is it that makes it that, but it's easy to say what things it is not. And we'll maybe talk about that in another lesson, okay? I want to use intonation effectively. I think my rising and falling sounds a little odd. Maybe I know that I need to blend words to sound more natural when I'm speaking, right? But I don't know how to do that automatically. Well, that's a practice issue. Okay, that's a good one. I want to I want correct pronunciation to be a habit. That means that I want to say the word as it should be every time naturally without having to correct myself or think too much, right? It's just a habit. And good pronunciation should be a habit, because you're thinking about so many things when you're speaking, right? You don't want to have to be thinking about correct pronunciation. You want to just say what you want to say, okay? So this is it. And after you've identified the issues and you have decided what you want, then make a simple plan. And I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do, but maybe you do shadowing 3 times a week. Maybe you do 10 lessons with one-on-one lessons with an English teacher, and they can point out things that are not so clear that might be causing misunderstandings. They can help get you closer to that international sound that you may or may not want. Right? Maybe you record yourself speaking freestyle about a topic once a week, and you listen back to that and you make a few notes about things you could improve. All of these things you can do, and they're going to hopefully get you closer, if they're the right things, get you closer to the things that you want within a year. It doesn't have to be a year. I'm just giving you a basic framework that you can use, okay? So this is the process. You identify your primary issues. If you don't know them, get help from someone else, a teacher, or a friend whose English is better than yours, someone who can notice these things. You might be able to notice a lot of things yourself. 2, decide what you actually want and think about whether you actually want to have an American accent or a British accent, okay? I think it's a better goal to have that international accent. And then 3, make a specific plan that you're going to follow. Don't make it too overwhelming. Make it achievable. Make it something that you can continue for a long period of time. Persistence and consistency are much more important than, doing something intensely over a couple of weeks and then giving up because it's too much, right? That's called burnout, and we don't want that. You want to be able to continue it long term, okay? So, simple challenge for you. I want you to do these things that we just talked through. Identify your problems, make at least 3 I want statements, right? And then write down the things you're going to do. Okay? You can share that in the comments. You can also share that in the community that we have, a Discord community for practicing learning English. Put it in the challenges section, or as I said again, you can put it in the comments. Okay? Let me know how it goes. Good luck. If you want to really get serious about pronunciation and learn more about it, you can check out my courses. I have several pronunciation courses in the links in the description. And of course, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe.